Hello, I'm David with the RV Bushcrafters channel. I'm going to be a headless voice today because I want you to see what's down here rather than looking at my face. But this is the second in our series of the David Canterbury 10 C's, and the second C stands for combustion. Last episode we covered cutting tools. So let's take a look at what is meant by combustion tools. The very easiest way, the most easy way to start a fire is with an open flame. There's no question about it. If you got an open flame, that's going to be the fastest and the best method to go. So big lighter, excellent carry. If it gets wet, it has to be dried out before it can be used, but a good way to start a fire. Obviously, there's a limited amount of fuel in there. Another method of open flame is what's called a permanent match. And there are a number of these on the internet that are good. A good one is going to have a sturdy case to it. This is a Somgem. Once again, I'm not recommending any particular brand of anything. I'm just showing you what I found to use. What it does is it contains a lighter fluid, the same type of lighter fluid that goes into any lighter, and inside there's a match. There is a match that pulls out that sits in the fuel. There's an O-ring that seals it. The good versions of these will come with extra wicks, because there's a wick on the end that holds saturates the fuel. And they'll come with extra wicks. They'll also come with extra O-rings, and usually will come with two of these in a pair. So you can have a spare or give one to a friend. So to get this to work, you have a striker on this side right here, and it has fluid in it, but it's the vapor of fuel that ignites. It's not the liquid fuel itself that burns, it's the vapor. So there's a striker right here on the end that goes against the striker here on the base, produces a spark and ignites the wick. And it's got enough time to start a fire before it burns the fuel up and starts consuming the wick. Now, these are designed where the fuel doesn't readily splash out if you turn it at an odd angle, but it is a good idea to put your finger on top of the hole as you do it. And let's see if we can get this to start. One way to get get some air around it is to give it a blow and a strike. The spark has to hit in an area that's got the, there we go. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries. If you let it burn too long, it'll start burning the wick, but it will certainly burn long enough to ignite tinder. So very excellent way to start a fire. Actually, probably as far as flame intensity, it's a more intense flame than like a big lighter. Now, the fuel in here will last a while. You can start quite a few fires with this, but as part of my kit that I carry, I use a container that has extra fuel in it. So I've got a way to refill. The next best way to start a fire is with some type of material that is combustible. Like this is a small ferrocerium rod. In order to get it to work, you have to, you need to know how to strike it and to achieve what you want to achieve, and that's a subject all by itself. But the striking part can be done in a number of ways. You can bring a striker, and one of the things I didn't mention in the cutting tools section was that a good idea for a bushcraft knife is to have a 90 degree sharp edge on the back, on the spine of the knife, because when you can use that to elicit sparks from your ferrocerium rod. So good reason to have a bushcraft knife with a 90-degree spine on it. And I think I mentioned I have an everyday carry that I use, and that's my Swiss Army knife, because I don't carry this junk around in my pocket. Shouldn't call it junk. These work tools in my pocket. But like the back of the saw of my Swiss Army knife, it has a 90-degree blade, and it will also produce sparks, just like my bushcraft knife did. If the sun is shining, probably a better and easier way to start a fire is actually with a magnifying glass. You've got sunshine, you can start a fire with this thing very quickly, probably easier than with a ferrocerium rod. Probably depends on your experience and use. But if you got no sun, ferrocerium rod is an excellent choice. Also in that same category is a block of magnesium. And what you do with this is, this is especially good when it's really wet outside. You can use the spine of your knife to shave off a grouping, I guess I don't know what the word to use, puddle of these magnesium shavings in a pile about the size of a quarter. And then you can use the striker side and strike a spark into it, and you get a roughly 4,000 degree flame that lasts long enough to ignite even wet tinder if you processed your tinder properly. So good thing to have in your emergency kit. Now, I am a big fan in general of Zippo lighters, just because of their history, and they're windproof, and I can't argue with how well they work. They only take a little bit of maintenance, but the problem is that they leak. It takes a good bit of fuel to keep them filled up. Like for example, this right here, I'm using this Zippo container to store my extra fuel. This will fill this lighter just a little more than one time. So, but I can fill my match with that extra fuel, my permanent match, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 times with the amount of fuel in here. So the Zippo lighter, while it produces a good flame and it's windproof, they do leak. And even if you take a tight rubber seal, like I have used a bicycle inner tube, a size 25C bicycle inner tube, and it fits solid around the lid and just absolutely seals that gap. After about a month, you still will have all of the fuel evaporated out. So big lighter, Zippo lighter, not necessarily the best choice for carrying in your emergency kit. The permanent match is a better choice. So it's also good in your emergency kit to have something to ignite. One thing that I do is I take these round cotton face swabs. You buy them at whatever your local Walmart, Target, wherever you shop is. They're made out of cotton, and they're about yay big around. And you can melt a candle and saturate these pads with that wax from that candle, lay them aside to dry, wrap them in aluminum foil, and fold them in half, which is what I've done here. This is, round. This is half of that round. And in an emergency, you can actually quarter this and start 4 fires with it. And that quarter, will burn long enough to get your tinder going. So it's an excellent thing to have in your emergency pack. Last but not least, and this doesn't have to be sealed, but I just like to seal it. But this is a piece of pine fat wood, and that's that wood that smells like turpentine that comes out of the center of pine trees as they've aged and died. It's the part that's always left after the last of the tree is rotted away. And this will start a lot of fires too. You make shavings out of this, and if you make them thin enough, you can actually ignite them with a ferrocerium rod, or you can certainly light them with a flame or your Bic lighter. Now, these are the tools you carry. So I haven't said anything about primitive fire starting methods. And we're going to look at that in just a minute. So we've got the tools, and we've got the second C, which is combustion, but we need something to combust. So I think what we will do is I will go out and find some materials, and I will make a tinder bundle. And instead of using these tools to start the fire, we'll start a fire up just to show how to do friction, and I'll probably use a bow drill. My lot is about a little under an acre, and everything that I'm going to use to do this next step with, I'm going to walk around this lot and pick it up directly from here. So locally sourced, just to show you that it can be done. So I'm gonna hit a pause, go out and collect some stuff, and then we'll pick this back up.